This one, as we go to war against these ideologies, is maybe the most important one in a lot of respects. And this is dealing with Judaism. We dealt with Christianity and the true stories, the Jewish history of Jesus and all that. Jewish people don't like to air out any kind of beef or any kind of internal conflict with the world just because of so much persecution. But we have to address this ideology because it's super cancerous, in my opinion. And it's really the reason, despite being like 95% sure we have Jewish roots back through the mother's like maternal line and a conversion from Judaism, this is still the thing that's kept me from converting back, and it needs to be dealt with. So I've listened to so many Jewish conspiracies. Even in these videos, there's been at least a couple comments, two or three, that basically blame Jews for all the world's problems. There's so much anti-Semitism in the world right now. The war going on, Gaza. It's actually fairly silent tonight, so that's a good thing. People love to throw a bunch of stuff on the Jews, and I think, as I've said before, everyone's kind of in it for themselves. There's lots of organizations, Freemasons or this Vatican, all fall into these Bilderberg groups, Trilateral Commission. There's all these different organizations. I think they're all in it for themselves in the end. Everybody has self-interest, right? And when we keep a mindset, especially of finite amount of resources, which really we're a closed system that replenishes. So there's maybe a finite amount of ore, potentially. There's weird things like alchemy, you can change things to other things, but wood, all those kinds of things can be grown and aren't finite, they're infinite if we take care of the earth enough. But a lot of people have self-interest, so it's not weird. But this is a Jewish idea that I think is pretty old, but it's something that I really have beef with. So, and it could lead to a lot of the accusations against Jews that happen. And I think it needs to be fixed. And this is maybe the biggest ideology that I'm at war with and I can't accept in religion. And it's kind of broke my heart, honestly. And what I'm talking about mainly is this idea in Kabbalistic Judaism and even Chassidut, which I love so much, and I think they're on the right track in so many ways, is that non-Jews don't have human souls. So, and before people lose their minds and think violent thoughts or terrible things, please don't. Number one, this is about love and healing. Pain does crazy things to people and makes people think crazy things. And Jews have been through tremendous amounts of pain. Like they have suffered for the Most High for millennia, right? This has been an ongoing battle to stay close to the divine for millennia. But I think there's three very good reasons why this is a ridiculous concept. So just for a quick background, Jews believe there's 5 souls that make up a Jew. So it's there's the nefesh, which is the most basic soul, and the ruach, which literally like wind's breath. It's like the breath that God breathed into them. And they believe everything has these two souls. Every animal, every human being, everything that's alive. Plants, but every like living animal creature has these two souls. And Jews also have a neshama, which is a higher soul. And in Israel here, they love to say like neshama sheli, like my neshama, my soul. And also one called a chaya, which is actually what Eve's name was supposed to be, Chava, but if she'd been perfect and done everything right, it would have been Chaya. And Yachida, which is the highest soul. And only Jews have those last three. And so there is, I don't want to say it's like the most racist, like dehumanizing religion, but it kind of is. And I mean, worse than Hitler, right? It's dehumanizing more people than Hitler. And I have a big problem with it. And I always thought it was just this fringe, and it is more or less like this ultra-Orthodox fringe thing, but I know it seeped deep into the society because the mother of my child, and to my daughter, your mom, even though I'm pretty sure I don't have the paperwork to prove I'm Jewish, the Ukraine is turmoil and we couldn't seem to find anything that links it, even though we have the DNA and other things. She loves to tell me I don't have a human soul. I'm an animal all the time. In front of you, she said it, and it breaks my heart. And she's the furthest thing from religious. Like, that's how I know it's not just a religious fringe thing. It's seeped into society. She's what in America we call a party girl. Here they would probably call it like a sharmuta freja or something. But and I know it's mother of my child. I'm sorry, that's your mom, and it is what it is. Like, we all have great things about us, and she loves you so much, and but like, I was always on the fence about kids. I think the world's all screwed up, and she told me she was religious and wasn't. But she's a party girl, plain and simple, and not religious at all. She studied a little bit here and there, but she believes in this wholeheartedly. And there's a lot of rabbis that are really revered that also believe in this and have spouted it. There's a guy, Ovadia Yosef. I see his pictures everywhere in Israel. And the Rebbe, who I loved, I read so much of. I was like so ready to be a part of Chabad. Said even worse things, that like everyone who's not Jewish has a soul of the devil, like a devil created soul, which is the most horrendous thing. It's like I walk around seeing pictures of Ovadia Yosef, and it's like seeing Hitler everywhere I go. Even more 99% of the human population is being dehumanized by this concept. And so it's an ideology we have to fight against. And this is the one I'm the most worried about, that it could get me kicked out of the country, could potentially get my life taken from me. I don't know what's going to happen. So, but I have to address it. And please don't make this about hatred for non-Jews. This is really a video for Jews, for my daughter, and for Jews. So if you're a non-Jew listening to this, please don't make this about anger and hate. Love is the only weapon that matters. And if you're doing it in hatred, you only make evil stronger. You don't conquer anything, you just make evil stronger. And it's like the dark side of the force, right? What doing evil deeds just brings you closer to the dark, to the like evil. It doesn't make you, right? Anakin goes and hurts the younglings because to get stronger in the dark side. So your violence, your hatred, your anger only empowers any kind of darkness that's out there. But this is a concept in Judaism. And You know, remember Am Yisrael, that like we have been through a lot of pain. And in this time of the Omer, between Pesach and Shavuos, remember the sin of the golden calf and how quickly we ran to wickedness after all we saw and all we were given, and how all the suffering, it's so easy to blame everyone else for the suffering, but it's all Hashem. Akol Hashem and Gamzula Tova, right? Do we believe this or not? And like we brought this, all of our suffering ties back to the sin of the golden calf. And that's what people have to remember. And so we can blame the Goyim for whatever hardships, and Europeans were harsh, and Christians and Muslims too have been hard on us, and all over the world people have. But let's look at our actions as well. So, I mean, this concept, when you really think about it, it's like that idea that if everything they have is ours, like that's crazy. It's not stealing because it's milking a cow isn't stealing, or fleecing sheep is not stealing. It was for us. And that is a dangerous idea. And then we blame, it's magic. If we go to a place and we treat people like they're animals and believe they're just animals and their wealth is meant for us, and that it's not stealing to steal from them. Basically, to love our neighbor as we love ourselves, or to not do unto others as we would have done to us, we skirt by all these rules by basically dehumanizing everybody. So we, instead of being a light to everybody in the world, we just say, oh, well, these rules don't apply to them. One of the things that turns me off the most when I listen to like Chabad things is when they talk about Shabbat, and they're like, well, who says you can have Shabbat? When they talk about Goyim, like, it's not for you, it's for us. Shabbat's for us, right? And this comes from the Zohar originally. Well, I think it goes back much further. Like I talked about, even Jesus called the Phoenician or something servant that asked for her child to be healed. He's like, I came for my people. Like, I'm not, who am I to feed a dog when my people are hungry? She's like, well, even the puppies get scraps under the table. And he's like, oh, good, stupid goy. Like, that was clever. I'll heal your kid. So I don't think this is a recent idea. Like the Zohar is from, I think, 1500s, when everybody was into magic. It's like a Kabbalistic book, and I haven't read it fully. I had the girl I dated for 9 years gave me the first, as we got religious and we're studying Torah together. She was really my chavrusa, like we studied, my study partner. So that means she bought me the first edition of the Zohar for when I hit 40. But then by the time I hit 40, all my books got given away. I never got to really study it. And, but I know it's in there. And I've reasoned with enough people. And one thing I respect about Jews that I don't respect about Muslims is Jews will be honest. They'll tell you, if you ask them this stuff, it does say that only Jews have all 5 souls, like Goyim don't only have the 2 animal souls, and that they're all going to be slaves of Jews someday. And I think this is all a little misinterpreted. And I don't know what it says in the Zohar, so I can't tell you exactly word for word what the interpretations are. But this is horrendous, dehumanizing 99% of the world. And we have to look at our own actions. Are we treating other people like that? And I don't think it's magic. This whole explanation, like, oh, God makes the other nations hate us. It's like magical, mystical that God would make them hate us. Or is it our actions? Like all our suffering is through sin, right? Everything we do is from the golden calf on is because of our own sin. And not their instruments. The rest of the world are instruments of punishment, maybe through Hashem, but it's all Hashem. And you can't blame them and say they're evil. And the most dangerous thing about this, in my opinion, is, besides this horrible belief and talking down to people and belittling others, is anytime someone does something good for you, you can justify it as like, oh, it's really Hashem. They're just an animal, and like Hashem is giving me this. Instead of recognizing that somebody, it's like everyone who hid people in the Holocaust, right? Like, oh, they're only like God, they was blessing us. It wasn't that they were doing a good deed. Or what about these Christians that decided, like, for fun, that they were going to try to breed red heifers? Like, oh, it's only because Hashem did that. No good deed then becomes a credit to them, or like that they did something nice. It's like God like did this. And it's true, it's all Hashem in that respect, but it's good deeds and people looking out for Am Yisrael. And if we are treating people less than human, then of course, don't you think people are going to hate us for that? Is that like weird to think that? I don't understand. And I'm going to tell you why, 3 good examples of why I think it's all BS. And I'm sorry if this goes into deep rabbinic Judaism. Nobody's perfect, you know, and maybe this is a deep flaw, misinterpretation. I think personally that if we were teaching Torah to the world as we're supposed to, and living in the light of Torah, treating everyone as brothers and fellow nations, we would get far more wealth than we would ever have to by fleecing people or doing shady things, treating people like animals, right? In Russia, they have a saying, like, a Jew won't eat his breakfast till he steals from a goy. It's fucked up. And excuse the French, but it's a horrible saying. And are these people totally off? Are they just making shit up about us? Are they just making stuff up? I don't think so. I don't think that's their nature. And like, I think if you have a horrible idea like this and you enact it in any way, I've been told so many times now by my ex-wife that I don't have a soul. I can't even count them. Every time she's super mad at me, that's what she tells me. Like, I don't understand that I don't have a soul. I might even be Jewish. Like, I'm pretty dang sure, I'm 95%, that our family's Jewish, and it's through the maternal line. That's why I got folded back in. I'm like the last, for my mom, I'm the last boy, so it's like, or the only boy, so it's getting folded back in before it should disappear. And I think that's the tribe of like Dina, the tribe of Miriam, which I did a video on. I never posted, but I'll probably do another one. But that's such a horrendous philosophy. And the 3 reasons I think it's BS are this. So, was Adam an animal? All the Goyim, 72 nations, are descended from Adam too. Adam, in fact, was the highest. The Yechidah is like Adam. It's attributed to like Adam Kadman or whatever, the like spirit of Adam and his perfection. So the highest soul is considered to be part of Adam. And yet, but Adam was a goy. He wasn't technically Jewish. He didn't have a human soul. That's crazy. It's crazy. Another one, Yonah, Yonah HaNavi, right? He went to Nineveh and to save the people. It was 120,000, was it? And and it says cattle, so maybe people are like, oh, it's the cattle. He's just talking about Jews. I don't think so. Hashem wanted to save the people of Nineveh. And when he makes the Kikayon, and then it says, you know, how sad he was when the Kikayon died. He was so proud of his plant that was shading him. And then the worm, Hashem made a worm eat the root, and it died. And then he's like exhausted. The sun's beating down on him. And he says, like, look, you didn't even plant this thing. You didn't do anything to it. I made it grow. And it's the same. There's people, there's 120,000 or whatever the number was. I think that's what it was. In Nineveh that are my people, you know, and cattle and stuff too, whatever. But they're all, he sent us to save them, not to destroy them. And so I don't know the deeper interpretations. Maybe that was just counting the Jews there. It's horrible if it is. But, and then the last and most important thing that doesn't even make sense, this whole concept doesn't even make sense, and it's ridiculous, is the idea that the Torah was offered to all the nations. So I talked about in like choosing video, the choosing people. Rabbi Blech does a terrific lecture on that. I don't know if it's still up on Aish, but amazing. And all the nations were offered, like before Sinai, all the nations were offered the Torah. And people turned it down for whatever reason. Some wanted to murder, some wanted to commit adultery, some wanted to steal. They all found something that they didn't want to give up. And Am Yisrael said, we'll take it. Like, we'll do first. We don't understand it, so we'll do it, and then we'll understand it. But would Hashem offer them to dogs? Offer the Torah to dogs? Would he offer the Torah to cows? Would he offer the Torah to sheep? If they weren't humans, and they didn't have human souls, then why would the Torah be offered to them? Just as like pleasantries? That doesn't even make sense. If they were animals, why even bother? There's no way. So in my meditation, I haven't meditated on this nearly enough in some ways. I think you guys have the souls wrong. That everybody does have a nefesh and a ruach, but I think all the descendants of Shem have a neshama. I think these are functions. Each soul into the levels is a function. And so maybe each of Shem's kids, and there's 5 of them, right? Or 27, 29 nations, depending how you count it, that are descended from Shem, either have a neshama or something similar. Shem is right in neshama. So there's Shem already in there, stating this is from the seeds of Shem. So either all of the nations, if it's 27, arguably, plus Israel and Amalek, then either they all have a neshama, or some kind of like beshama, or like something with Shem in it. And then Yafeth, was it 14 nations, arguably 14, 15, have something, a different thing in the neshama instead of the neshama. And Ham, there's 30 nations for Ham, have also something different with Ham in it, probably at the neshama level. So arguably, maybe it's specialized already by the different nations, but I don't think so. And it could be though. And I haven't meditated on it enough and in the right frame of mind to understand exactly the full of it. But that's just in my understanding and the little I have. I believe it's something closer to that. And then the Chaya is already tied into descendants maybe of Abraham. It would make sense, Chaya, because it's like life. I've always believed Avraham Avinu is where the bounce hits. So if Chava was truly a prophetess, letting us become like the ultimate Baal Teshuvahs, then it was the bounce at Avraham Avinu, right? Adam was supposedly, the foreskin grew when they ate. So the cutting of the foreskin is representing where we hit rock bottom and bounced up. So it's chaya is like life. It's bringing back life to the world. Now we're back on the climb of life. So maybe these are the descendants of Abraham Avinu. Maybe this is from that son of Shem. I always forget his name. Adrashach or something. The son of Shem that Abrahamic line is descended from. And then the Yechidah is specifically Am Yisrael. So it's like that function. And only of the 72 nations, only Am Yisrael has the Yechidah. And that everyone else has something different. But every nation has 5 souls. They just vary from after the Ruach. They all vary to some degree. So they may have something with Shem in it, not necessarily Neshama, but something with it. If they're from Shem, Yafeth, or Ham, and then up higher, level by level, it's more distinct function rather than they just don't have them in their animals. That's crazy. Then why would Hashem offer the Torah to them? That doesn't even make sense. And why would you have any concern? Am Yisrael is a nation of priests to serve Hashem and to be the bearers of the Torah for the world. The Torah is the light of the world and not just for one people. And I think people will, though, if Torah, the truth of Torah was given to the world, the depths of it. And I think what the Baal Shem Tov said, that his teachings, the Kabbalistic teachings, need to be like for the world. You know, obviously most people just say it's for Jews, and they all have to know it. When it's disseminated to all Jews, then Mashiach will come. I think it's so that it's spread to the world, that the world will celebrate Hashem. Do you think he just wants one small nation, 1% of the human population? It's going to be 100%. And that's our duty. And in that, we will get more, people will serve us how the Kohanim are served. All of Am Yisrael will be fed like the Kohanim, through like the blessings, the giving, and the sacrifice. But really, people will bring and give to ensure that Am Yisrael is taken care of. And we will receive more through generosity. Look at how generous people can be. There's a story going around right now of a guy who worked at Burger King or something for 27 years. And they gave him some crappy going away gift. And the internet raised $500,000, I want to say. Something crazy for this guy. And there's stories like that all the time. Am Yisrael will receive far more by giving and serving, like basically being priests for humanity, for Hashem, to humanity, than they'll ever could receive by treating people as less than human and thinking we deserve it. Like it's their wool is for us, their milk is for us. So this is the one that is maybe the most dangerous for me to speak on, because I think there's a lot of proud Jews, and a lot of institutions that profit off a lot of this, and they're not going to take this lightly. And it could cost me my relationship with my daughter. It could cost me my life potentially. But somebody has to address this and have the guts. And if I haven't proven through the 100 videos past how much I love Torah, I love Am Yisrael, I love my daughter, and I'm here to do Hashem's works, then nothing will. If my honor can't see me through this, then I have to sacrifice myself, you know. But this is what I really believe. And I believe this is to the detriment of the world and the detriment of Am Yisrael. And it's not going to bring the Mashiach. If we want Mashiach now, and we want this to come, and I yearn for it every day, there's nothing I want more in this life than the great party and end suffering and end all of this, then we have to acknowledge this horrible truth. And the non-Jews, you got to cool it. You got to stop. I'm with Am Yisrael 100% on the Eretz. Like, right, we can't achieve a state of perfection. If all the 613 mitzvot can turn our body back to Tahor without the temple needs to be rebuilt. Mashiach needs to come. It has to be in love, and we need everybody, right? The red heifers are going to probably come from these dudes in Texas, ironically. And so it shows that the world and the nations are going to give us what we need, but we have to love them accordingly and not to treat them as less. And I'm not saying this is everyone. And again, to non-Jews, this isn't everybody. This is hardcore religious Jews mostly, and the few people who feel bad. It's pain. The same way, look at black folks have gone kind of crazy. They go through a lot of pain. Now they're dehumanizing everybody, saying white people are violent and thieves and stuff. And they're like the highest murder rates, and it's like crazy robbery sprees. And it's pain, man. Pain makes you go through crazy things. The Germans, Hitler, and there's weird conspiracies I may address about all that stuff too. It happened. The Holocaust happened regardless of whatever conspiracy. There is something I've heard that maybe we'll talk about, but concerning all that. But it did happen, and it was Germans in pain. They lost World War I. They were in a bad place. They tried to use Jews as a scapegoat. Pain made them crazy. Jews have been suffering for thousands of years, and pain will make people do and say and think horrible stuff. And so love is the answer to all of this. And Am Yisrael has to be loving and not skirt around the rules of the Torah for everyone else, all because of the fact that we don't consider them human. And it's becoming what we despise. Christians have dehumanized Jews. Muslims have dehumanized Jews, but Christians have done it for sure. And it doesn't make it right to dehumanize them back. That's becoming what we despise, and that's not the way. And I don't believe that's the truth of the Torah. And so I don't care what rabbinic traditions, I'm not trying to challenge it. I believe in the oral Torah. I believe in the rabbis, but I also believe everything is up for debate. And there are deeper things at work here. And this ideology can't stand if Mashiach is going to come. I don't believe it. And I don't believe Goyim don't have higher souls. I've known a lot of them. I grew up in America. Half my family is not Jewish, and they have beautiful souls. Goyim do tons of kind deeds. Are they Jewish souls? No, they're not. And I think Jews do have a special soul. And, that's Am Yisrael's mission. The 70 nations became 72. I think there's misconceptions about Amalek too, we'll talk about, but that's our goal and our mission. But at the same time, all 72 nations, 71 maybe it'll be, I don't know exactly. I think Amalek, it's more transformative destruction than just outright destroying them all. And we love to just call everybody Amalek. Anyone that's like ever challenges us, Amalek. Yep, Amalek. Amalek spirit. Amalek. Nope. Amalek. Crazy. I think we have to look at ourselves and honest inventory. That's it. We can't dehumanize 99%. And again, non-Jews, this is really for Jews. Non-Jews, this isn't all Jews. It's deeper than it should be in Jewish society, possibly. But there's a lot of people, so as much as I love Hasidut and the religious aspects of Judaism, there's a lot of people that don't. And they don't talk about this, but I'm pretty sure when I talk about like midrash and different Kabbalistic ideas, a lot of people are like, "Oh, that's really cool. I didn't know that." Even Jews raised in Israel, but Jews all over the world, but they have a big beef with religious Jews, and I think this is where it stems from. And I've had a few kind of talk about it, but people don't really like to even bring it up. It's such a horrible idea. And I think this is keeping Am Yisrael from really all coming to the Torah and being a strong nation that it can be. And, you know, Christians, you have done a lot of horrible things to Jews and kept them as like fringe members of society. But you also gave them places to live too, right? We also lived in, look at me, you know? There's lots of Jews that came out. We had blonde, blue-eyed Kohanim in California at my shul. And little Kohanim kids would go under the talis at shul and give the Kohen blessings with their dad. And they were blonde hair, blue eyes. The dad was kind of like sandy, blonde but blue-eyed. And so, you know, and then look at the Ethiopians and everybody. Like Jews, we go, lots of people come to Torah, and we look different wherever we are. There's Chinese Jews. There's Jews in China that on their passport says Yehudi. And, you know, and they look Chinese. It's just how it works. Like when you live in a place for hundreds, thousands of years, there's going to be interbreeding and, you know, conversions and this, and people will start looking how those people looked to some degree. So it's not so weird for all the anti-Semites out there, like, oh, Europeans, blah. They're the minority here in Israel. I hate to tell you guys, but they're the minority. The Mizrahi Sephardic community is much bigger. Not much, but it's bigger. And there's Ethiopians. So, you know, what do you guys say about that? Love is the way. And anyone that wants to be hateful over this, that's not Jewish, and even Jews who are hateful over these ideas, it's not the way. It has to be through love that change is made. It's the only way that change can be made. And all we can do is change ourselves. There's no way we can offer ideas up to help people change themselves, but in the end, we can only change ourselves. Can't change anybody else. And so, but this is one ideology that I am at war with, and I'll never accept. And it's kept me from becoming religious and wearing my tzitzit and my kippah and davening and going to shul on Shabbos. And since I've learned this, it was not something I could agree with. But then after baby's mama, when I came, my daughter was born, my dearest, when you were born, your Abba was wearing tzitzit, he was binding tefillin, he was wearing his kippah, he was about it. And I came with my 40 most valuable books, and I was so ready to go do this, to do my like Q or whatever, like short one. They say normally the rabbis are saying I probably just have to do a short one where, you know, they'll go over all the info with me, which I already pretty much all know, the chagim, whatnot. And they check, make sure I'm circumcised, which I am, and then I do the mikvah. But your mom constantly telling me I'm an animal and that I have no soul every time she's mad, and goyim have no souls or nothing but dirty animals, is so horrendous to me. It is so off-putting, wrong, and dehumanizing. And it's dehumanizing 99% of the world. It's worse than Hitler. I don't understand. People don't understand this. And if people believe this, then no wonder everywhere we fucking go, people hate us. Is it like mystery? Is magic? You think this is magic? That's a crazy philosophy. It's so ugly. And I can't accept it. I'll never accept it, period. I'm here struggling, surviving, and I've never had such madness as like how I'm living right now. But I have to face this. We have to face this. And so I love you, Am Yisrael. And I say this because I love you. And I love the world. I've always wanted to save the people. I want Mashiach more than anything. I yearn daily for Mashiach. I want the grand party. I want the ancient wine, the Leviathan, the Behemoth, the Ziz, all of it. I want the peace on this planet. I want us to party together like I saw us all in Long Beach. But it's for the world, isn't it? Isn't it for the world to party? Is it just going to be us? It seems like a dull party. And to me, at least, I love all the different nations of the world. I love all the cool stories and cool vibes. And we're all the same in the end. When you get to know us all, we're all the same. All of us. 72. Maybe 71, whatever. But it's important. And so I can't stress enough to be loving. Don't use this as fodder. And if you do, let it be on your head. Because there's enough anti-Semitism in the world. People don't want to talk about this stuff just because of this. And I'm going to go into Muslims next. So don't get it confused. They have their own things. I've dealt with Christianity already. And they have their own stuff too. And we all do, right? Just like every nation has their issues, their good and their bad. We have to stop making things so black and white. And they're all bad because of this. No, that's crazy. Or they're all good because of it. No. There's no country, there's no religion, there's no person that's all good or all bad. In fact, what did I say? From Talmud, it says that Mashiach will come in generation that's not wholly righteous nor wholly wrong, wholly evil. It'll be, we're all a balance. And so that's important to remember. And there's so much good in Judaism. And I hope the 100 videos that I broke down about misconceptions, about beautiful Kabbalistic mystical thoughts, and all the good stuff. And there's so many more I can do. It's like nothing. This is just, I've been scratching the surface. Literally, I tried to put down the fundamentals till now. Like those are some of the most fundamental concepts. Just as primer so that you can understand this. There's so much good in Judaism. And we're just getting there. And so please do not use this as something to incite evil in this world. And if you should, let it be on your head so that this is about love, and this is about change, and this is about making a better world. This is about saving the humans. That's what this is really about. That's what's always been about for me. So I wish everyone the blessing of pushing out terrible thoughts that no matter how deep concepts can go, no matter how much we cling to things out of pain, especially, we should cling to the worst ideas. And it's happened all over the world to all different types of people. Pain does crazy things to us. Like it makes us mad in a way, like it's a type of madness almost, that we should push away any kind of madness from the pain that we cling to and find love, embrace the oneness, because we're all one and Hashem is one. Hashem echad, that we are all one. And no one should feel dehumanized. Nobody should feel less. And the true gift of Torah is for the world. It's to light the darkness of the world up. And it just so happens that Am Yisrael are the torchbearers, are those who carry the flame of a light that will light the world up and bring light to the darkest recesses of this world. And I believe that. And so I yearn for Mashiach. I wish everyone the blessing. Push away hateful ideas. Push away the strength to push away anything that's not in the purest of love. And be honest with yourself, and don't let pain twist your mind into believing something that you should know, and if you look deep into your soul, you know can't be right. And so I wish this for all of us, especially all my achim in Am Yisrael. Let's do this, people. Save the humans.